Our first myth today came via request, and it's the claim that Ringo Starr's drumming on the song Let It Be was actually doctored. This one is beyond true, but you do have to listen a bit closely to be able to hear it. And the man to blame for a few awkward moments and one of the most disastrous in the entire Beatles catalog is producer Phil Spector. The man loved his reverb and his echo, and throughout the first 90 seconds of the song, his work is blatantly obvious. What he really messed with was Ringo's hi-hat sound, and used the 52-second mark of this song as the reference point for the original sound. The hi-hat hit that you hear when the word broken is sung, yeah, that's the one that was pushed through an echo machine, and you can hear it there very clearly. Now, if you're aware of the song, you know that as they lean into the second verse, there's a very slight change in tempo. But Phil Spector did not adjust the echo and reverb at all, and it becomes really obvious. As the band moves into the first full-on chorus section of the song, around the 120 mark, you get Ringo really dropping in with the drums, and if you listen very, very carefully, you can actually hear the doctored hi-hat being played behind it twice, completely off rhythm because Phil Spector forgot to turn it off. To tell you the truth, there are tons of little flubs and odd notes all across the Beatles catalog, and you could spend an entire lifetime tracking them all down. But this one happens to be really true and pretty obvious. Today's second myth is a big one, and it revolves around the story that Madonna actually wrote the song Papa Don't Preach as a letter to her father so that he wouldn't get mad at her and lecture her about her unplanned pregnancy and abortion that she had at the time. This myth has been around for a very long time, and the lyrics certainly match up very well with the story. Except, of course, for the fact that Madonna didn't write this song. Brian Elliott did. While she contributed a few words here and there, Brian Elliott wrote nearly the entire song, and he actually wrote it after overhearing a conversation among schoolgirls outside of the studio that they were working in Hollywood. So while the lyrics are certainly about pregnancy and abortion, Madonna didn't write them, and she absolutely was not pregnant at the time. My final myth today actually came up in conversation last week, and I felt the need to clear up the claim that the NYPD actually planted evidence on Old Dirty Bastard so they could arrest him as many times as they did. This all began during a 1999 court hearing of ODB, when he outright stated that the NYPD were doing this to him. And he said the only reason he didn't leave New York City was because all of his children lived here. When you look at the rapper's arrest sheet, you might think that there is a ton of truth behind this due to the variety and the sheer number of times he was arrested. But I'm sorry, conspiracy theorists, this one is not true at all. Months later, ODB himself admitted that he was frustrated at the time and he completely made up the claim. It's that simple. So those are the myths for this week. Be sure to check back here every Thursday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history, and be here every day for all the music news, reviews, and knowledge you'll ever need.